So in this video, we're going to set up a hosted feature service to be put into a map that field maps can use so you can collect some data in the field. Again, this is a tutorial and in the assignment you will be following similar steps. So I'm going to go to content and then I will create a directory for this particular module to organize the items. So in this case, it'll be John. We'll make it mod2, and I'll go save. And I will try to make sure that I am on that directory and that it's highlighted, and I will create a new item. And I will create a feature layer, and I'm going to define my own. And then I'm going to call this WLD for wildlife, OBS for observations. I'll go 0, 1, and then if you have a conflict, you can just change the number. I don't need the extended metadata fields. If you're ever on a government contract, you probably need to flip that on. These will just be 2D values. I don't need measures. I don't need to slide any of these over. And a point layer is fine for today. I need it remembered where I put stuff, and I will put my demo tag on this. Can delete later. Ooh. Yes, a little reminder to myself. That should be good enough to go. I'm just going to tack on a couple of columns once it's been built. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. And we'll a simple add a comment field and then we will also have a domain that we can use to build a unique value renderer and also to create editing templates in that. So it showed up finally, took a little while in that. And I'm going to flip over to the data tab and I'm going to go into fields in that. Right now all we have is an object ID, so you'll always have an object ID. It's like the primary key. I think up here you might notice that you saw the word attachments. So when we create a hosted feature layer online through this workflow, attachments are enabled by default in that. So I'm going to add some more columns, and the add field button's way over here. There's no, hopefully they add a little bit of color to that in the future. In that. And then you have what kind of columns do you want to add? So I will start with a text column. And I'm going to call it WLD, sort of a comment field. And I like to keep these the same. It can get confusing, especially when you're coding against it if they have different names in that. But sometimes you may want to give a more domain specific or natural name to be displayed to the user. It's something you should think about. We'll make it like a 1024 comment field. Decent size. And there is a new thing down in here, probably for searching and metadata purposes. And this is like a description type of field, and we will add this field. So now you can see we have 2 and that. I'm going to add another field for a we'll use a little bit of a domain or a pick list, so a list will drop down for the end user and they can pick wildlife observation animal type off of the list. And so we'll add that field as well. So we'll go back to the add field button. Now this depends. The way the domains work is there's usually a label and a code. And do you want the code to be a text-based code or a number-based code in that? So those are usually your top 2 choices. A short string, maybe a 2 or 3 letter character code. I'm going to pick integer in that. I like my codes to be numbers, but that's just me. I'll go next and I'll call it WLD type. And again, I like to keep these the same for now. In that you may have good reason, like I said, to give the end user a better name and that. And we will in here, I think there's like a category, yeah, and that. Do they have a domain? I don't think they have a domain. That would be more accurate. Type or category. It is definitely a type, so we'll leave it as is. And that is going to hold a number as a tax that on. Now I do want to click on this field and actually further edit it. And so we'll go view details, and then we'll hit the get started. We want to make a domain. And so we'll hit the, what it means here is there isn't a domain on the field. And so we will hit the get started button. What kind of domain do you want? Again, this is legacy stuff all the way back from the original geodatabase. So we want lists, or what we would call a coded to value domain if we were on the desktop. In that, we're actually going to import them. In that, I have a file ready to go. So the file is in OneDrive. I've downloaded it to my work folder. Now my work folder is off screen right on my secondary monitor right now. So I'm just going to drag the file across in that once I find it. Okay. So I think it's in the raw data folder, and it's called animalcodes.csv in that. So it's this file here. I'll just drag it on in that. And so wouldn't hurt actually to bring this up into Notepad, and I'll slide it across the screen. Just got to clean up some stuff before I slide this across. And so that's the CSV file that got loaded. And so wherever you can, especially loading up these things, my recommendation would be have a header. I've had problems there. Try to organize the columns into label code. It seems to like that. So the label first, code second. Have a standard on how you want to handle unknown in that. I would avoid 0 in all honesty. Here I'm making it negative. -1, classic thing done in a lot of different libraries to mean null or nothing or unknown. And I'm starting my count at 100 and skipping by 100. It gives me lots of room if I ever come up with an animal I want to put between bear and cougar and that. And so that looks good there, yeah. And comma, and I will call it a tight packing and that. And so that looks good to go, and I'm just going to save that. And again, I might bring that back. Well, I can explain it here, I guess. Again, this code doesn't have to be a number. That's just my standard in that. So you do have a choice when you make a domain that the label will always be some type of text string. But do you want the code to be a shorter text string, or do you want the code to be a number? And my standard is to have a number. Just have a standard is what I would say. So that I would say that is now uploaded, and we're good. And so that would mean is that when we're capturing these types of observations of wildlife, that this list drops down. They won't see the code, they'll just see the name in that. So I'm going to go to Visualization tab and actually set that up to be a unique value renderer based on that type. We have to click on this because there can technically be many layers in a hosted feature service. And one of the layers we have, I find I have to click this twice, so you know. And I'll go into edit the layer style. This has a similar feel to the map viewer, but we're technically not in the map viewer. Click on field, pick wildlife top observation. You will get a single value or unique in that. It's already done it. It's coded it. And are we okay with that? I'm kind of okay with that for demo purposes. You may want to get in here and, all honesty, for your users, maybe find some different symbols that, a stylized version of a bear, cougar, coyote, or that. I would do that if I was going to push this into production. And if we take a look at the legend, yeah, we can see that they've been color coded in that. So we've taken this as far as we can with what I would call at the hosted feature service level. So we, in that, I'm just going to hit the save button in that. So we created our layers, we got the domain set up, we got the unique value renderer done. Now if we want to get editing templates done, we would need to, unless something is shown up here, it doesn't feel like it is shown up here. Someday I'm hoping that editing templates will show up here in that. But today, that is typically done in the map viewer. And so I'm going to go back to content and make sure I'm on mod 2. Hopefully it remembers that. And I'm going to create a map. This is where sometimes it breaks and it can't quite find the map. So, or find the directory, I mean. So I'm going to go up to map to create a new map. I'm going to try to scroll in here, let's say. We'll leave it at the lower mainland for now. Yeah. Okay. Right about there. Am I okay with the terrain map? I'm okay with this space map. I do like navigation. I just lied. I like navigation better. Yeah, I do like the navigation better. Layers. I'm going to add, usually if you just made a layer, it'll be at the top of your list here. I'm going to add it in that, and then I just get this off the screen. It's already popped the properties, and we can see that. So what I'm after here is actually to configure the editing, which is this little button here, and I want to make some editing templates and that, and we just got to go click the update button. It'll make an editing template for each of the ones in the unique value renderer, and I'm going to go okay. Now the reason I like this is in that this is good. I'm just going to wait for this to go away just in case on its own. I think they're just buying you time in that. I think they're waiting enough. This should be saved by now. And that I'm going to save the map as well. Yeah, I guess we have to go save as the first save. It did not remember the directory, so I'm going to go down and pick my mod 2. And I'll go MAP for map. I would also say have a naming convention here too for your layers and that. I'm going to go in and say map, yeah, WLD OBS wildlife observations demo tag. And this is a note for myself to delete later. And we'll go save. So a few things got saved there in that. I'm going to zoom around actually. We'll put, always like to have a couple of bookmarks. So we'll always do the campus in that. Top end of the campus, right about there. And we'll call that BCIT. Add and that. Wouldn't hurt to go do Deer Lake too. Maybe a good place to walk to see if you can see some stuff. Okay. Okay, I'll click. Now I'm going to have to zoom out because when I click save, it's going to remember where I was zoomed to in that. So we'll leave it maybe like that there. So just to demo this, that's saved, and I'll just go in here. So let's say I was at Deer Lake, right? And now I was on this trail here, and I saw a bear, because there are bear warnings in that. So I can go edit, and when I go edit now, I'll be presented with that. But what you might notice if you can see it moving, maybe, yeah, I should bug them. Put the dot above the cursor. You'll notice that it's a red dot, so it's already colorized as a bear in that. And I'll go as a mama bear with 2 and I'll just go create. Now I think that's live. So I'm going to get out of here and we'll go get out of the editing one. And that, do we want to close this? Properties, I actually do. So I'm going to go back to layers and that. And yeah, no, we'll be good there. And legend and that. And so if you go and click on this now, right, it's already in the system, Mama Bear with 2 cups, and that. And so that's just a little demo of how to create the layer, get the 2 columns on, get a domain on it, and get the editing templates, I guess, generated and ready for the end user. Now, there are some things with the map that we should probably do. I don't know if we can get the settings from here. I'm going to jump out to my content area. So find this a 2-step process, depending what you want to do. If you want to allow disconnected editing, you have to go to the feature layer because it needs to tack a column on. Settings, and you're looking for enable sync, and then save that. We've enabled editing on it. And then you might go back to content, might be the quickest way to do this. And for the map, you just want to make sure that editing is, when offline mode is enabled, a user can download the map. And that. Now, check compatibility. Let's take a look. It might be our base map is navigation. That seems compatible. I'll flip that switch. That we can take that offline, and it's been enabled. And that. So stuff's always moving around on every update to find all the switches that you have. So now they can take the map offline. So that was a 2-step process. Map can be taken offline, so you can have a base map while you're out in the field. And the layer was set to allow syncing. Now let's go back and take a look about what did that mean. When we go back to this hosted feature layer data, we're going to find a new column showing up. And that column is, let's take a look at fields, global ID. So that is the how they check out a replica, let you work on it locally and check it back in to make sure, you know, are these 2 features the same features and they've just been updated and had their geometry removed, or are they different features? But that's all for now.